you had the beginner's luck that everybody dreams of.
We did.
We did. We feel very fortunate.
Val, I remember we would try and catch a 30-second break every so often.
Yeah.
And I remember this like yesterday. Val looked at me as we're walking down the hall at Dar Wasl, trying to escape the madness. And she says, we went viral. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when you hear about the new viral brand in Dubai or New York or Tokyo, that's videos are being shared all throughout Instagram. That was us.
If you're a coffee producer, roaster, or cafe owner ready to sell more coffee, this one's for you. The Sell More Coffee Mastermind Group is a 3-month online program starting this August. Meeting every 2 weeks for 2 hours, we'll focus on finding new customers, retargeting existing ones, refining your pricing, sharpening your messaging, and using ChatGPT to help you stay ahead in a volatile market. Whether you sell green coffee, roasted coffee, or brewed coffee, B2B or B2C, this is a practical way to get strategic. Join the success of the people who have already been through these mastermind groups. Apply now at mapperforward.coffee/group coaching or click the link in the show notes. Welcome to the Mapper Forward Middle East podcast, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 3 of a 5-part series with David and Valeria from Kurasu DXB. We are talking about how to open a globally recognized specialty coffee brand in the UAE. And in this episode, we're talking about launching the first Kurasu in Dubai. My first question for you guys is, was it as easy or as hard as you thought it would be?
I personally think it was much harder. Yeah.
Say more.
Much harder because once we decided we were doing it, we found the unit, we started the building, we had the team. I started to feel more confident in the idea. I started to be more relaxed. And I thought we would open and it would take time to pick up because we would have to invest a lot in marketing and we would have just a steady influx of clients coming in. I thought that the build wasn't going to be as complicated. I thought that the coffee and the merch would arrive way before we opened. So I had these ideas that we would all be organized. I like to be very organized. So I thought everything would be organized and everything would just step by step flow. But life had other plans and launch day was amazing. I hurt my back the day before at the gym, which was a bit unfortunate, but I can't complain. I feel like the first week was very humbling, amazing experience, but it was definitely challenging.
So to that point, again, we had lessons from 5 Iron. At 5 Iron, again, mentioned in episodes 1 and 2, we opened in September of 2024, and prior to open, had a fairly extensive pre-open marketing campaign in which we invested quite a lot. And we also onboarded a team that we anticipated would be able to accommodate a line out the door, so to speak, come open. That line out the door, come open never came. And so with Kurasu, we took those learnings and thought, all right, to Valeria's point, let's start humbly and slowly. We'll hire a leaner team. We won't be packed on day one, so we thought. We won't invest in marketing so much pre-open, and once we prove concept early on, we can then spend marketing dollars and scale the business. Well, I suppose we didn't understand how admirable and sought after the Kurasu brand was in the UAE because, as anyone who came over the first week would know, not only was there a line out the door from our first Saturday, but it was standing room only in the shop. And
yeah, I couldn't get a table.
Yeah. And so to answer the question succinctly, was it easier or harder than we thought? Well, I suppose getting financial results was easier than we thought, but emotionally for us, far more difficult. We were there 7 a.m. to midnight every day for 30 days in a row.
Wow.
reopen to close.
I was in the cashier and David was serving tables. Yeah.
Yeah,
So glamorous, right? Like I remember how this one business owner saying to me, this was when I was living in the States. And I said to him, he was complaining to me about his staff, and my staff complained about this and my staff complained about that. And I said to him, the best recommendation I have for you is you should roster yourself on once a week. You should work side by side. If you want to earn their respect, show them that you can do what they can do. And his response was, that's not my job. My job is to run the business. And I said, how do you think this is going to go? You're going to sashay in, sit there and be like some celebrity chef that comes out every now and then and checks that everybody's enjoying their coffee. He's like, absolutely. I'm like, bro, you're dreaming. You are dreaming if you think this is the way this is going to go. He struggled for years. Anyway, we won't talk about that. But it's far more taxing on the body, on the mind, on the spirit than, and you guys, I feel like you guys had a great launch. You had the beginner's luck that everybody dreams of.
We did. We feel very fortunate.
Val, I remember we would try and catch a 30-second break every so often.
Yeah.
And I remember this like yesterday. Val looked at me as we're walking down the hall at Dar Wasl, trying to escape the madness. And she says, we went viral. Like, when you hear about the new viral brand in Dubai or New York or Tokyo, videos are being shared all throughout Instagram. That was us.
What did that feel like, guys?
We would also pause and take 30 seconds to say, okay, let's kind of soak it all in and appreciate that this is happening as well. So it didn't feel real. But at the same time, we worked hard. So it also felt right. We wanted to appreciate that we also deserved this because we worked for it. So it's kind of that, oh my God, it just launched and we're just delivering coffee, but we also worked for it to be that way. So appreciating it.
And can I just say to any owners that are listening to what Valeria and David are saying, who own their business but don't work in it, this is what you're robbing yourself of. I call it with my clients, the moments you can't pay for. You have to earn them. And these are moments that you have to earn, and you do not earn them if you don't get in there, roll your sleeves up, and actually feel the body ache of working in your own business. And it is like beautiful to watch people go through. It changes you as a person, right?
Totally.
And I can't wait to do it again.
How did it change you guys? Yeah, I love it.
I would love to do it again if we have the opportunity. It's an amazing feeling. It's super hard, but I think, I can speak for both of us. We like to do hard things.
Yeah. And I guess the beautiful thing about it is it inspires the people around you. Talk to me about what it's like building a team in that environment.
Yeah, I don't think anyone on the team expected the resounding opening that we had.
Really?
Oh, for sure.
Not even Amin?
I don't think so. No.
Wow.
I think the only one who wasn't surprised was Yozo.
I mean, yeah. And I was going to say the same thing.
Because he had seen Jakarta open in a very simple way. So the team, like us, everybody worked overtime. No one had a day off for the first 2 weeks, us included.
Wow.
Naturally, they were remunerated for it, and they deserved it, and then some. But I think just all of us being in the proverbial trenches together early on, knowing that there will be this short-term, quote-unquote, suffering for the benefit of the brand was worthwhile. And you could justify the 7 a.m. to midnight days knowing that you were building something bigger than ourselves. It wasn't just working at a coffee shop. It was bringing a brand that everybody knows and loves to the UAE for the first time and building the base for very eventual growth.
Yeah, wow. I do this differentiation that in all the consulting work that I do. I talk about easy hard work and hard work. Do you guys, were you prepared for both the easy hard work and the hard work? Do you get what I mean by the difference between those two things? Were you prepared for both of those two different kinds of hard work?
I wasn't, if I'll be frank.
Really?
Yeah, so I was not expecting to be needed at the business from pre-open to close every day for a month. I just wasn't. I didn't think we would be that busy. I love serving tables and being with our customers.
That's the easy hard work then.
Absolutely. It was humbling. It really was.
Yeah.
And I think it for us, it was this wave of confidence that this brand will work here so long as we remain 100% blindly dedicated to customer service. And if Valeria and I can be there, as she mentioned earlier, as owner operators and be face-to-face with our customers and continue to ensure that not just the coffee they're having, like Valeria mentioned, but the experience they're having is unparalleled, then it's worth every second that we're there.
Yeah. What about you, Valeria? What was your differentiation between the easy hard work and the hard work?
I have to say, I think we were sort of prepared for what was coming. We didn't know what was coming, but I think we were prepared for the hard work and for the not so hard work because we've done hard things before. I think this was physically very hard, but I think mentally we've done harder things. So the hardest challenge, I think, was not being in a relationship and like not being in a relationship anymore, but he was my partner for the whole opening month. And I was telling him, I miss you. And we were together every day, 24/7.
That's the hard work, right?
Yeah. So having to readjust our dynamic for those two first months, I think was the hardest on me because I can physically be tired and push through, but there's something different here. And it was was totally unexpected. So that was the hard for me.
Good point.
Yeah, the dynamic is when a couple then becomes business partners. So your professional life and your personal life, if you can't find a way to differentiate those two things, it can become all encompassing and really challenging.
Totally.
For anyone who's listening at home, folks, if you don't understand the difference between easy hard work and hard work, I'll give you an example of each. Easy hard work is for committed people is like waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and working until midnight. That's easy hard work. Hard work is firing somebody. If you have never fired somebody before, the emotional turmoil of doing that, whether they deserved it or not, it is a really, really hard thing to fire somebody. It challenges all the levels of you. When they deserve to be fired, it challenges you because you're asking yourself the questions, how did I let this happen? Why didn't I see it happening? And if they didn't deserve it, then you feel like, oh my God, I failed in business. I can't afford to pay them. I have to let them go. Like that is hard work. And it doesn't leave you. Years later, you're still thinking about the same thing. Waking up at 6 a.m. is nothing. Even though it's hard, when you're doing it, 30 days in a row, your back's killing you, your legs are killing you, you're exhausted, but you'll do it. You'll push through, like Valeria said. But the other thing, that can stop you in your tracks. And being in business is filled with both of those two types of hard things, but also filled with those moments that you can't buy. I remember the first time I walked into a cafe. I used to have a bottled beverage business that sold only one product. It was a beverage that I created called Elixir Specialty Coffee. And I remember walking into a cafe that was serving Elixir once. And the first time I saw somebody I didn't know drinking that, I just started crying. You can't buy that moment. And for that person, they were just drinking this beverage and having a great time. But for me, I was remembering the 3 years of almost killing myself and living on brown rice to take this brand international and watching this happen. That makes all the easy hard work and the hard work exceptionally worth it. And I love what you guys are doing, but and I'm really, really happy for you. But more than anything, I am incredibly happy for Yozo and his team for having, he is experiencing a lot more of those I earned this moment.
Big time.
It cost him to get here, but these are the moments that you earn. And Yozo, I hope you're listening to this and you're hearing that. And it well deserved. The brand is exceptional. So now I want to ask you guys, what is it like watching your team navigate the launch of this? Because Dubai is a very interesting place for employees, especially in coffee. So what is it like? Because you were very intentional about the way that you chose your staff, right? What's it like for them? What's it like for you to navigate watching them experience this?
It's been magical. It really has.
Really?
Yeah. I'd like to think the team is really proud to be there. And that pride has nothing to do with the two of us. It has everything to do with Kurasu and Amin.
I'm not sure that that's 100% correct, but we'll gloss over that for a second.
Truly, because again, our staff are passionate about coffee. They really are. They really are. And so they know the excellence that is behind the brand. They know that they are the only baristas in the city brewing and serving coffee roasted in Kyoto. They know that they are working at a shop that is, to many, the top echelon of coffee around the world. Yeah. So there's pride there. What we've also been cognizant of is keeping them up to date with our plans of expansion.
Oh, awesome.
As we grow in the UAE and hopefully the region, they're the first to know. It's no one but them that gets first sneak peek, so that they can begin to make their plans for how they grow with the business.
Well, and this is why I wanted to ask this question, and where I wanted to get to is that when you don't work in the business that you own, you don't really build that real deep relationship with the long-term success of your staff. Yeah, we go back to culture, right? The culture inside a business. Matt and Kim at Raw are really fantastic at this. And actually this Friday, I'm going to be recording a series with a few of their staff members to talk about that idea of what it is to work. And they've all worked for other people. But there's something about, you hear a lot of the workforce in this region very dissatisfied in their jobs in coffee. So when I find businesses that are very intentional about creating an internal culture, I want to celebrate that. I want to give the employees the opportunity to talk about what it is to work for somebody that's building their future career. Like it sounds like from what I'm hearing you guys say, you're not just building Kurasu for you. You're facilitating a future career path for everybody that is working for you. Am I understanding that correctly?
Absolutely.
And I think David makes that very clear. Even in the interview process, he starts by saying, I want you guys to know that this is not a job. It's a future for you guys as well.
Wow.
So I've learned that from him.
So we, setting up, we're very deliberate about not poaching. The community is
Well
small.
done.
Yeah. And
Dubai is very small. Yeah.
Dubai is very small. So most of our staff, in fact, all of our staff, aside from one, came from Abu Dhabi or Sharjah.
Really?
Dubai. Yeah. So that to us was a lesson that the brand has sold itself, so to speak, so much so that people were willing to move their lives. Granted, it's one emirate over, but nonetheless, they're leaving friends, family,
Yeah, 100%.
communities behind. And without going into too many details, I mentioned in episode 1 that for now we are Kurasu DXB. Soon enough, we'll be Kurasu UAE,
Nice.
which means we'll be moving either north or south. In any event, when we told our staff,
I have my preferences, but we won't say where the preference is. I don't want anyone to know where I live, but I have my preferences.
when we told our staff that we'll be setting up a second shop quite soon in insert emirate here, many of whom came from that emirate, that really excited them.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So in the next episode, we're talking about the unexpected things that happen when you are launching a business like this. There's a lot of them. I have some specific questions around that. So join us in the next episode, folks. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Mapper Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.